Hey there, welcome back. So recently I read some books from authors that I've read in the past, and basically in the past they just weren't for me. I wanted to see if either it was a one-off, just that book didn't click with me, or maybe this author and it's not for me. But so basically, second chance reads, if these didn't turn out well, the next book would have been a third time's the charm, or I'm basically giving up. So starting with Lucy Foley's The Guest List. This was a very popular book a while ago. I read it for the Literally Dead book club, and many people loved it. It's an odd one for me because it could have easily been a 5-star. However, instead it was like a 1 or 2. The reason for this being mostly structural. This book is a murder mystery, my favorite. It is a confined, isolating setting with a small cast of characters. Again, my ideal setting. We are in a gloomy, I think it was in Scotland, don't quote me on it, but I think it was. Vacation, destination, wedding kind of thing. You have the bridal party and the groomsmen, and one of them is murdered. Now, this is where my issue comes. We do not figure out who was murdered until the very end, at the same time as when we determine who the murderer was. So without knowing the murder victim and the murderer, I was left with too many unknowns. I had to come up with theories for if each individual character was the one who was killed, like who has the motive and means to do that. But it was just too many. It was too many unknowns. If it had just been restructured, if you found out who the murder victim was around the halfway point, even a little later even, I would have been fine with it. This probably would have been a 5-star for me because the plot itself, fast-paced, very engaging. I enjoy red herrings. There were lots of them. I love when there's lots of twists and multiple motivations and everyone's kind of at each other's throats and everyone has secrets. Go for it. Love it. Just give me who was killed a little bit earlier on, or even give me who the killer was earlier on, and I can piece together their motivations, why they killed this person, who it is they killed. Just give me something. That also brings me to a little bit of a second issue. This book, I found the characters to be the weakest point. Granted, it's been over a year now since I've read it. I do remember, I think her name was Jules, the bride. I did enjoy her, but that's more so any kind of selfish, self-centered kind of person. Like, it's going to be done my way because I deserve it. You're going to do this for me. I just like that character. So she gets a pass from me. The other characters all felt interchangeable. I think there were 2 female characters. They could have swapped places. I don't really feel much would have changed. Not really. Little tiny bit here. Nah. The male characters, 100% all of them interchangeable. You could have swapped them around. I'm like, they're the exact same character as far as I'm concerned in terms of personality, voice, and tone. Did not like them. Not only didn't I like them, I couldn't differentiate between them. So that could just be a me thing. Overall, I did not enjoy this book. The pace, the structure of it was just off for me. The characters left nothing for me. I was praying for that book to be over. So next, I picked up her most recent book, The Paris Apartment, again for the Literally Dead book club. Did I hate this one more? Did I hate this one more? I think I hated this one more. This, again, should have been a perfect book for me. I love hotels. I love hotels so much. It is a confined space where unrelated characters are forced to interact with each other because you live in the same apartment building. Of course you're going to cross paths. Of course someone's spying into someone's window. Of course everyone's got their nose in everybody's business. Of course there's secrets. And it makes sense for me because I never leave my house. So this is the only time I would have to interact with some crazy person. Now, once again, let me give you the plot of this one first. So, woman goes to brother's apartment to spend some time there. She's on the run from something. and just needs to get away, needs a fresh start. Shows up to brother's apartment, brother is not there. She then does mental gymnastics to convince herself that everything's fine. The fact that she was just talking to him on the phone and he said he'd meet her, the fact that there is possibly blood in the apartment that she chalks up to the cat killing a mouse or something, the fact that the sentimental necklace that he wore has been broken and left on the floor, the fact that she hears a threatening message in her brother's voice as he's being threatened is probably no big deal. He must have just left his wallet, phone, money, bike, everything at the apartment and just gone off for a time. Just decided to pack up and go for a little while. The mental gymnastics this woman has to say, everything's probably fine. I don't need to go to the police right now. Because my own issue is a bigger concern and more important that no one knows that I'm here than looking for my missing brother. Her backstory, by the way, is nothing. Like, you would think she had some ginormous secret and could not risk possibly getting the law involved in any way. No, it's nothing. There's nothing there. Okay, so we have our mental gymnastics. The best we can do is ask the local apartments people, have you seen my brother? Do you know why he might have left? Call his work. That's enough. That's fine. Then you have, once again, the issue that every single character is either annoying or interchangeable. Again, the worst being the male characters. They all feel like the exact same character to me. Nothing differentiates them. Also, why does this cat like tummy rubs? Are you sure you're not a dog? This cat loves tummy rubs, and I've never met a cat who does. I'm sorry. And now we're attacking. Back to the book. So my main issue there is I hated all the characters. The plot made no sense. It was boring as hell. I could not be done with this fast enough. So Lucy Foley's books, probably not for me. I, of course, will do a third time's the charm and try again. I really like her settings and atmospheres, like the hotels, the islands. In theory, this should be what I love. But as I have determined I'm more of a character-focused reader, her characters just aren't for me, so that could be the main issue. Is there anything else I want to say about the Paris apartment? Oh yeah, the main focus, so you would think the driving focus would be finding the missing brother. Instead, the driving focus is more everybody in the apartment loved or was obsessed with the brother, and there is nothing about his personality or even his appearance to reason why that is. I have no idea why everyone just loved this brother. The only explanation was he was charismatic. People were drawn to him. Every single person. I think three people were in love with him, maybe 4, and there was no reason given. And then there was this weird side plot with the main character and just some random guy that I'm just like, what is your purpose? Did you cut a subplot line and just accidentally left this scene in here? I don't know. Okay, Paris apartment, not for me. Like 1 star, hated it. Not for me. Okay. The next book that I read from an author that I hadn't liked in the past was one by Simone St. James. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. But I had read The Sundown Motel last year or the year before. And again, I loved aspects of it. The cat is going to kill my plants. Hope they're not poisonous. Okay. This is going to be another voice issue. It is told from the point of view of 2 women related. The girl's aunt, I believe, aunt went missing years and years ago before the girl was, I think, even born or when she was very young. and she has taken upon herself to find out the mystery of what happened to her aunt. And it is so repetitive. These two characters have the exact same voice. If it wasn't for the fact that you get their name in the chapter headings, I would not have known, like, who we're currently dealing with. And then it is like, in the past storyline, this happens to the aunt. And almost the exact same explanation and wording, it feels like, is used when the other main character in the present day storyline is discovering what happened there. So we learn about it in the past, and then the other storyline, the other main character learns about it. And it is so repetitive, and they sound the exact same. The setting is really cool because it takes place in this motel that may or may not be haunted. I don't want to say anything, but the horror elements of this were fantastic. I wish it leaned into these horror elements. There is a scene involving like an abandoned pool that genuinely terrified me for a split second. There is a line in this book that it is the only time in literature that I have ever felt genuine fear clutch at me. I do not get scared in books. I didn't think it was possible. I have read The Exorcist. I'm going to do some more extreme reading in upcoming books, but like gross elements, like slaughter, torture, porny stuff, it's a book. I'm not going to be grossed out by words on paper. I've watched all the Saw movies. Do you think there's any way you could describe it in a way that is going to be worse than seeing it in a visual medium? I have watched so many horror movies. Like Sinister is one of my favorites. It was terrifying. I have never felt fear reading a book. One line in that, and I'm just getting flashbacks of The Grudge. And I'm just like, oh, this is a well-executed scene. I love her for that moment alone. I feel I'm hyping it up too much, but considering it's the only time I've ever experienced fear when reading, and it's for characters I didn't even care about, was great. I will also say that unfortunately, there was the end's like plot twist for the book also did nothing for me. Was not a fan. It was really like a 2-star book, but I think I bumped it up to a 3 just because of the horror elements of the haunted motel kind of thing. I really wish it leaned more into that. So much. Okay. The next book I read was the Book of Cold Cases. And it was so much better. So much better in my very, very, very subjective opinion. The characters in this book all had distinct voices. I greatly enjoyed them. Again, we're dealing with 2 different timelines. We have a young blogger who is looking into the case that happened, I believe it was like 60 years ago, give or take, maybe a little less than that, with the lady killer. So this was a woman who was tried but not convicted of the murder of 2 men. And the media sensationalized it. She was over-sexualized, and just how she was portrayed in the media as this femme fatale kind of person, morally horrible, and she's just like, sure, whatever. Her personality was incredible to read. The writing of her was great, and then the blogger was a completely different character with her own backstory, her own motivations, and her own struggles to deal with. I hope you can't hear too much what's going on with my cat, but he's going crazy. It's the distinct voices alone was enough to make this book better than the previous. Then, in my opinion. Then you have the fact that we're still learning about stuff in the past, and the character in the present day is finding out, but it's presented in a different way. There's different motivations. The one in the past is viewing it from how she remembers it being portrayed in the media when she was first either researching it or heard about it. Yeah, researching it. She wasn't very old when it actually happened. And how they present it compared to going to the past storyline, how this other character was genuinely feeling, what she was thinking, what was actually going on. So there was a difference between the two. There was a motivation, there was a tonal difference. It was so much better, in my very subjective opinion. Then you still have these horror elements that I loved from the first book, not quite to the same extent. Again, I so wish she leaned into it. I want her to lean into it. Screw thrillers, in my opinion. Just let this woman write me a horror book, because I will eat it up. Still not perfect. The twist of the book I did call pretty early on, and then in terms of the thrilling aspects, it did kind of plateau by the time we got to the halfway point. The present day storyline started to drag, and the past storyline was like, okay, I get it. Can we move along? Can either something else happen, or can we get a new twist or reveal, or can it just be over? Like, we had good characters, we had good tone, just needed something else in the plot to drive the story forward just a little bit more, or lean into those horror elements. We'll definitely be picking up this books by this author again. So excited to see what she writes next. Going to probably dive a little bit into her backlist. This overall has been a great time. I didn't enjoy the Paris apartment more. Yeah, Lucy Foley will get a third time's the charm, see what happens. And the author of Sunday Motel and book Cold Cases. So looking forward to see what she writes next. And please let it be more horror related. I think I've gushed a little bit too much, but that's what I read recently. I'll talk to you later.